Hey everyone, welcome back to the Elite Sales Pros Online Remote Closing Mastermind podcast. I'm your host, Phil, and we're helping closers and coaches level up, scale up, and live free pretty much. Today, I'm super excited to have a very special guest, Miss Corinne. She's been in tech sales for over a decade now. She runs her own community. She's based in New York, and she's also in fitness and indoor cycling. So, Corinne, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Phil. It's great to meet you all. It's so good to be here.
Nice to hear that. First, take us back. Like, how did you first get started in sales and what pulled you into the tech world?
Yeah, sure. Well, I originally grew up in Los Angeles. I'm American, and my dad owned a small business, growing up a travel business. And my mom worked in corporate. She ended up leaving corporate America to raise my brother and I. And so when I was growing up, what I was taught was to work hard and to learn from others who have succeeded. And so that is what I did. I ended up getting my first corporate job as a consultant with Deloitte, which was really, really exciting. And that was my first foray into client service and sales. And then I ended up landing a job at Slack and moving into tech consulting. So I was at Slack for a few years, and then Slack was bought by Salesforce. So I had the opportunity to work in a lot of B2B technology sales roles, serving different segments. And then I ended up working at Google, where I work today. I work in tech sales. I sell our cloud services, and I straddle both high ticket closing as well as tech sales at Google. So for me, this was a journey of ups and downs over the course of my career, really recognizing from the beginning that I wanted a role that was challenging, that was stimulating, that allowed me an opportunity to work with people and to help them, which is what I really believe sales is all about, helping people figure out what products and services they need to support their goals and aspirations. So I've really loved working in sales so far, in a lot of different roles. And, I always have like my parents' recommendations and approach to life in mind, which is really work hard and learn from those who have followed the path that you want to carve out for yourself.
And tell me, over the past 10 years, what's one key mindset shift that helped you consistently perform at a high level in sales?
That's a really good question, Phil. I think sales is so fun and exciting when you win. Sales can be really, really challenging and really upsetting when you don't win, right? So for me, resilience is super important in sales. That is a skill that I think all sellers really need to practice, embody, to learn, to really adapt and evolve to every sales conversation, to every customer discussion. Being resilient to the lows to prepare you for the successful highs and the wins, I think is really which I've gotten over the course of my career in sales many times. And that makes those wins so much more
A
special.
lot of people struggle with rejection or burnout. How did you personally build emotional resilience and confidence when the numbers weren't in your favor?
That's a great question. Burnout is really real in sales, in my experience, and in the experience of many people who I talk to and I coach. I think what's really worked for me is to focus on what I can control, not what I can't control. And what I mean by that is I focus on how I show up, the mindset that I adopt, the energy that I bring to the table, how I speak to myself. Do I treat myself with kindness? Do I build myself up? Do I remind myself of all of the wins that I've had throughout the day, the week, the month, throughout the year? And also, most importantly, how do I continue to invest in myself? So, how do I make sure that my skills are relevant? How do I learn from others in the sales community? How do I invest in training, coaching, and development so that I don't feel like I'm behind? So I think one of the best ways to avoid feeling caught in rejection and burnout is to focus on what you can control, not what you can't control.
And do you have any personal development routines like morning rituals, journaling, or workouts that keep you sharp and in the right state for performance?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm a huge fitness buff, so I love to work out. I teach indoor cycling a few days a week, and that is my place to build energy, to take time for myself. And so I try to build in a workout routine every day that keeps my mind really clear and focused and organizes my thoughts for the day. As a seller, I think it's very important for us to figure out how we spend our time and to be laser focused on spending our time in the right ways. And so for me, working out clears my mind. It helps me collect my thoughts and energy. It helps me figure out what I want to tackle for the day. Just that time to myself, those 45 minutes on the treadmill, on the cycling bike, lifting weights is absolutely golden. So I do that. The second thing would be calendar cleansing. So I am a huge, huge proponent of time management, of structured problem solving, of taking ownership of your time. And so what I really like to do is I like to organize my calendar the night before I'm ready for the day. So that means I'll take a look at my meetings the next day. I will prepare outbound for the next day. I will prepare a strategy for the next day. And I will look at pockets of my day where I don't have anything planned, and I will schedule in those pockets for outbound, for prospecting, for skills development, so that I go into the next day feeling really prepared and excited about everything on my plate rather than worried about first getting up in the morning and figuring out what to do with my time. So that's number two. And then number three would be I really love to set a personal goal to watch 5 or 6 reels a day from professional sellers who I admire, who I look up to, whose content I really value. And I find that that helps me go into the day remembering what excellence looks like, remembering how to objection handle, how to hard sell if needed, remembering discovery. So some of the people that I really like to watch now are Dan G. I love some of his content, love his energy. Andres Contreras, I love the way that he objection handles. Johnny Mao, I think, is fantastic for frameworks. And then Shelby Sapp is also great for energy.
Cool. You've been in corporate tech sales for some time now, which is very different from remote high ticket closing. Like, what key skills overlap and what new ones would someone need to master to transition successfully?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's so much overlap between B2B sales, B2B tech sales, and high ticket closing. And to your point, there's also a lot of things that are very different. It's a totally new skill set and a muscle. So I think for me, there are two big skills where I see a lot of overlap. The first is customer empathy. So the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to put yourself in your prospects' shoes, to understand what motivates them, what excites them, what brings them to the table for the conversation, what piques their interest about your product or service. And most importantly, what are their fears? What are their reservations? What will happen if they don't decide to move forward? So, customer empathy in B2B sales, in tech sales, is so, so important and integral to the buying process. And I believe also now very, very important for high ticket sales, where whether it's B2B or B2C, we are trying to understand and put ourselves in our prospect's shoes so that we can ultimately consultatively sell them the right product or service that meets their needs. So that's number one. And then number two would be objection handling. Objection handling is a core component of any sales process, whether in B2B, enterprise sales, or high ticket. So understanding how to properly objection handle and what are the primary objections that you might face, I think are the two big components that are transferable when it comes to skills building across both lanes.
Interesting take. And
Yeah.
when it comes to sales conversations, what do you believe actually builds trust fastest? Like tone, energy, story, or empathy?
I think there are two things that build trust the fastest with prospects. Number one is empathy. You have to be able to put yourself in the shoes of your prospect to understand what they're going through, to understand why they came to speak to you about your product or service in the first place, to understand what their reservations, their concerns, their fears are, so that you can guide them to buy. So I would say that if you're able to put yourself in your customer, your prospect's shoes, and you're able to truly understand what's going on in their head, to anticipate the questions they have, to anticipate the challenges that they're facing, then you are better able to connect with them and you're better able to consultatively sell. And then the
Great.
second would be energy. I am a huge proponent of energy. You need to come to the table as a seller with 10 times more energy than your prospect because your prospect is probably coming to you with a challenge. They're scared, they're nervous, they don't know where to turn. They have seen the ad for the product or service that you are selling. They have spoken to someone, about the challenge that they're facing who has guided them to speak with you, whatever it is. They are probably coming to you from a place of fear, of anxiety, of wanting to make a change and not knowing how. And so if you are able to bring the energy, to reassure them, to guide them, and to help them feel like you are truly invested in their success, then you are able to build trust 10 times faster than without that energy. So I think energy and empathy are the two skills to build trust the fastest with prospects.
I couldn't agree more, to be honest. And what's one mistake you often see sales reps or closers make when they're trying to sell premium offers?
So this is such a good question, Phil. I think a very, very common mistake is rushing to pitch, rushing to explain why your product or service is the best product or service for your prospect before truly understanding where they are, what they need, what their concerns are, what their motivations are. We need to be spending at least 20 minutes for a B2B or a B2C sales conversation on discovery to get that full landscape, that full picture, to build that trust. So I think that the biggest mistake or miss that I see is sales reps getting super excited to pitch their product or service without properly handling discovery first.
Unfortunately, that happens a lot.
It's
Uh,
an easy mistake because we're
yeah,
excited. We love our product or service and we should be excited and energized, right? But if we don't really put ourselves in our customers' shoes, then we're setting ourselves up for failure.
it just reminded me, can you share a time you turn around a deal that seemed lost? Like, what did you do differently to close it?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I've had so many deals over the course of my career in both B2B and in high ticket remote closing that have seemed almost impossible to close, that felt completely lost. This is a very common sentiment in B2B, whether that's high ticket B2B or mid ticket or low ticket B2B. Or enterprise sales, it's very, very common to have 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 call closes. The buying cycle can be long. So I remember there was a deal I was working on for a high ticket offer where I'm positioning and selling a service for marketers. Where we're producing AI powered content for them. So avatars, UGC, ad creatives.
Mm.
And I was selling into a company that creates men's t-shirts. So like Tommy Bahama style, really, really nice, high quality. And the founder was really, really nervous about moving forward because he had just signed on for a photo shoot. So he had invested $5,000 in a photo shoot with real models. And he came to us to discover if technology could be a replacement, could help instead of a photo shoot. So, because he had already put down all of this money, he felt like there was no way he could make this purchasing decision. He could get out of it and start to work with AI and our service instead. And so I remember getting off the first call and thinking like, there is absolutely no way that this guy is going to find a way to work with us. I handled all of the objections. We tried to solution together. It was an hour and a half call, which was supposed to be a 45-minute call. So I thought the deal was lost. He ends up calling me less than 24 hours later and he says, Corinne, I have been able to cancel my photo shoot. I am so, so, so excited about the opportunity to use technology instead of working with models and cameras and, paying tons of money for a photo shoot. And I really want to move forward with you. And I think what I did differently in that deal than any other deals was to not act or appear desperate. It's very easy, I think, and tempting for a seller to see the dollar signs, to see the big brand, to want to be able to work with this brand and to try to pull all the stops like discounts, any sort of creative sales, right? So what I did in this case is I played it really cool. I positioned our discussion as a brainstorm to try to get to the right solution together. And I think because of that, it really worked because he felt heard and understood. And I didn't push a discount. And ultimately, he came back, and it was a PIF, which was really exciting. The first PIF for the company.
Boom.
Boom.
Uh, you led teams and communities also. Like, how do you coach others to sell with integrity, confidence, and clarity, especially in today's online space?
Integrity, confidence, and clarity are so important in sales, right? Online sales, corporate sales, we need to act with integrity. We need to feel confident and excited about the product or service that we're selling. So I think for me, what tends to work well has been two things. The first is ownership. So when I coach folks, when I speak to folks in my community, we talk a lot about ownership. What does that mean? That means you as a seller know your product and your service inside and out. There is no one who knows your product pitch better than you do. You wake up in the middle of the night talking about your pitch because you have pitched it so many times to yourself, to your colleagues, to your friends, to your grandma, prospects. So ownership means knowing your pitch inside and out, knowing every possible objection inside and out. Anything that your prospects would potentially ask you that could be an objection to the sale, you know how to handle that.
Joke,
Knowing your, yeah, go ahead.
Jocko like approves.
Yeah,
Or do you
right?
say,
Exactly. Knowing your ICP inside and out, your ideal customer persona. Who are you selling to? Who are you selling to and who are you not selling to? And then last, all of this means you pitch, you practice, you run through your script, you run through your objections time and time again. That's number one is ownership. Number two is mindset. I talk a lot to folks who are interested in portfolio sales about the portfolio sales mindset. So what that means is I am the owner of my sales career. I am the owner of my book of business. I am the owner of my territory. I decide on my terms how I sell, when I sell, and to whom I sell. And that mindset shift really, really changes you from an employee to an owner.
nice. You also have cycling and fitness background, which is awesome. How has physical discipline impacted your performance in sales and leadership?
That's a good question. For me, physical fitness, wellness, cycling and coaching is such a fun hobby, but it's also been a really productive tool for me to bring clarity to the way that I sell and to push myself perhaps past the limits that I thought I hadn't. Right. So I think like for me, physical discipline has brought me two things. It's number one, mental clarity. So the mental clarity that I need to go into each and every day, knowing what I need to accomplish and why I need to accomplish it. And then number two, accountability. Because you might have experienced this if you've ever tried to get up and go to the gym. Sometimes we don't want to do it, right? Sometimes we're tired. It's cold outside. We don't want to go. We're not in the right mindset, but we do it anyway. And we feel so much better on the other side. So for me, fitness has brought me accountability because I know that the effort that I put into it equals effort out, equals performance, equals improvement. So mental clarity and accountability are the two things that I wouldn't have traded for the world and have developed through fitness.
Absolutely. And do you also see a connection between the mindset of an athlete or a fitness coach and a top performers in any industry?
You know, athletes understand that performance is a marathon. It's not a race. Sales, in many ways, is a performance, right? We are performing for our prospects. We are pitching to them. We are getting into their heads. We are understanding what matters to them. And that requires us to be, in many ways, performative, for us to level up our energy above and beyond our energy levels day to day, for example. So for me, athletes, folks in fitness, top performance in physical sport really, really translates to top performance in sales because fitness and becoming excellent requires dedication, requires getting up when we don't want to, requires training when we don't want to, right? And that's what sales requires too, because there are many no's along the way. There are many failures, which make those wins that much more special.
And many people chase freedom, but end up working nonstop. What the irony, you know? And what does work-life balance look like for you? And how do you maintain it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think for me, I love to work, but I also love to have fun. And I think money for the sake of having a lot of money is no fun if you don't create memories with the people you love, then go spend it. So For me, work life balance means I have an opportunity to, I am someone who likes to work from, let's say, 8 or 9 a.m. in the morning until 6, 7 p.m. at night with breaks in between. So for me, I like to be able to decide when I have sales calls and when I don't, and allow breaks throughout the day for me to recover, for me to run an errand, for me to go to the gym. So work life balance for me means flexibility with where I work. And
And if you could give one piece of advice to someone who wants to go from, let's say, 5, 10K a month closer to building a personal brand or sales portfolio, what would it be?
this is easy. Vacation builds wealth. Vacation builds wealth. If you want to go from 5,000 a month to $10,000 a month and beyond to be a top personal brand and be recognized as excellent in the space, then you need to diversify. And what I mean by that is diversify the types of offers you work on, diversify across industries, across price points, across sales motions, because diversification builds wealth. It builds financial freedom by allowing you the opportunity to sell across multiple price points, bringing in active and passive income. And it also builds personal development skills, which in turn drive financial freedom and wealth. The more types of offers you sell across at different price points and different industries, the more diversified you are as a seller. Therefore, the more valuable your skills are on the market, the more agile you are. Diversification builds wealth.
As they say, don't put all your eggs into one basket.
Exactly. Exactly. That's it. You got it.
What's one thing you're currently learning or experimenting with that, really excites you? Like, could it be business, mindset, or life in general?
I think I've been having a lot of fun with AI these days, and I'm not the only one that says that. I'm sure that sounds like a broken record, but truly, AI for sales skills development, for pitch practice, for objection handling has been fundamental to the way that I show up as a seller, not only to coach folks in my community, but also to handle sales calls with prospects. I love using ChatGPT or Gemini to refine my sales scripts. I love using ChatGPT or Gemini to craft an outbound and love using ChatGPT to objection handle. So I really, really recommend for anyone who's interested in leveling up your sales skills to use all of the technology that's available to us to be able to pitch better, stronger, faster.
Guilty as charged here as well.
Yeah,
ChatGPT really, really helps.
it's amazing.
And now, what's your next vision? Vision for the next few years, both for your community and for your own personal evolution.
So I recently built a community. It's called the Closer Factory. And the goal is to help people build a diversified sales portfolio to build wealth, both financial and personal, through skills development. And so for me, this is a really important project because I have had such a wonderful career so far in sales, and I want to be able to help others do the same and really take ownership over their careers. So my ambition and goal would be to grow the portfolio sales community, the Closer Factory, from 60 people to 60,000 people in the next few years. I want this content, this curriculum, this mindset to get to get into the hands of as many people as possible to benefit. So that would be number one. And number two would be through that community and through support coaching. I would love to help folks land high quality, high ticket roles as setters, as closers, as affiliate sellers. I really believe in the power of top jobs. And then the last would be helping people build diversity and take ownership over their careers through both a diversified sales portfolio. And then for myself, I am a high ticket remote closer and I work in tech sales now. So I would love to be able to continue to land deals, close deals, be able to build my personal portfolio and be able to continue to help the found
Only up from here, as they say.
only up.
Thank you so much for everything, Karen. Tons of golden nuggets there. Where can people find your community and connect with you?
Thanks so much for having me, Phil. If you're interested in learning more about the community, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is at Close with Corinne. I have a link to the landing page and the community there. There are a couple of free opportunities and then some paid courses there too. So feel free to check it out and send me a DM.
Boom. Amazing. If you're listening and you want to level up your closing game or build your own portfolio income, check out the links below. Will be in the bio. and keep tuning in. Once again, I'm Phil, and this is a special guest episode. Let's keep closing and keep growing. Take care. Until next time. Cheers.
Bye, y'all.